Hi, I wanted to apologize to you. First of all, I have been sick for a couple of weeks, and I have not been as responsive as I normally would be. I've tried to keep up with email, but I'm afraid I haven't been grading the discussion boards as consistently as I need to. I'm going to try to catch up with that this week and see so that you'll have some idea of how you're doing in the class. Generally, I have to say, for the discussion boards, I've just very much been impressed with your responsiveness, the fact that you interact so much with each other. I'm encouraged to see that several of you have made comments about learning from the perspectives of others and even enjoying the occasional struggle when someone says something you don't agree with. That's great that you're learning from that experience. Certainly, learning how to talk about the Bible with folks that come from a different perspective is a skill you need to have as a minister. And so the practice that you have within the confines of this class can be helpful to you in that regard. I am appreciative of the fact that you are recognizing that there are certainly in the biblical narratives, there are individual stories. This will be true as we continue our readings in the historical narrative, but you are also seeing that there's a larger overarching narrative, and it's great that you both examine closely the individual stories, but also ask yourself, how does that tie in to the overarching picture? How does it give us more information about how the Israelites understood their relationship to God and understood even the identity of God? What is God actually like? So we get to see, as we read the historical narrative, we get to watch them, in a sense, growing up in their understanding of who God is and how they're intended to relate to God. So I guess all that to say, I really appreciate the work that you're doing in these discussion groups. I take it from what I read that you're actually learning out of that experience, and that's wonderful. Many of my students have remarked that the Old Testament gets sort of short shrift in their church settings. It doesn't play into the preaching very much, except as an introduction to the New Testament. And so I hope that you are experiencing the value that comes from really delving into the Old Testament and understanding those stories and seeing God at work, understanding perspectives on learning who God is. All right, I promise I'm going to do my best to catch up with grading. In the meantime, carry on. You're doing a great job, and I'm really proud of the work that you're doing. Realize that the critical reviews that's going to be coming up, and so I encourage you to consult with the librarian if you have not already selected some articles to read. Mrs. Yang can help you with that, as well as the preparation that you'll do for your exegesis paper for the end of the semester. My advice is that as you look at journal articles to do a critique of, that you select articles that have something to do with the topic for your exegesis paper. You might as well incorporate both assignments so that you maximize the usefulness of those assignments, and don't get yourself too strung out looking all over the place for various items. Okay, remember, if you have questions, send me email through the inbox in Canvas. That's the best way. If you're really getting a tight binder, you need an immediate answer, send me a text message if you're able to do that. I realize some of you are in foreign countries and it may be slightly more challenging to do that. But don't simply wonder, what am I supposed to do here, or that sort of thing. Go ahead and contact me, and I'm glad to help you walk through this process. Okay, so carry on. You're doing a great job.